Who invented the milk chocolate bar? In this program, we answer a question which is often incorrectly answered. To find the answer, we must first define what makes a milk chocolate bar distinct. Then we will explore the fascinating history behind its creation and rival claims. A milk chocolate bar is a solid food made from two key ingredients: cocoa liquor, roasted cacao beans ground into a liquid through heat and friction, and milk solids. Milk solids, not liquid milk, because only by removing most of the water naturally contained in milk can it be prevented from going rancid. Unlike a soft truffle or a paste, a milk chocolate bar is solid at cool and moderate temperatures. It breaks when snapped. Optional ingredients like sugar, extra cocoa butter, and flavorings such as vanilla are often added, but they are not intrinsic to milk chocolate. This is Daniel Peter. In 1875, he created the world's first milk chocolate bar in this building in Vevey, Switzerland, with some assistance from his friend and neighbor, Henri Nestle, founder of the Nestle brand. The plaque on the wall outside states the world's first milk chocolate was created here, a broader claim that is open to interpretation and is now contested. We shall examine this in due course. The milk chocolate bar was the culmination of 8 years of experimentation by Peter, who overcame a persistent challenge. Milk's high water content caused chocolate to spoil, resulting in rancid flavors in earlier attempts. Peter's journey into chocolate began through his marriage to the daughter of François-Louis Cayer, Switzerland's first chocolate manufacturer. At the time, Peter owned a candle factory and was facing declining demand due to the rise of the kerosene lamp. Inspired by his wife's family and his own ingenuity, he began to transform his struggling candle factory into D. Peter Chocolate in 1867. Less than 2 years later, Daniel Peter had closed the candle-making business, and according to the family history recounted by his grandson, manufactured his chocolate products in the daytime and did his office work and milk chocolate research in the evenings and often late into the night. By 1875, Peter achieved a breakthrough, producing a milk chocolate that could be stored without spoiling. There are conflicting stories about the role of Henri Nestle in Peter's success. The invention of solid milk chocolate is sometimes attributed to the use of Nestle's condensed milk in the final product, as if the solution had been to simply add an ingredient, supplied by his neighbor, to his chocolate, or that he did so with a few tweaks, or that he was inspired by Nestle's baby milk powder. However, Nestle's own website clarifies that, in 1875, Henri Nestle supplied his Vevey neighbor, Daniel Peter, with concentrated milk, which Peter used to develop the world's first commercial milk chocolate. Nestle do not claim that their condensed milk was used as an ingredient in the world's first milk chocolate bar, only that at some stage, or stages, of the research that led to its invention. Furthermore, the Peter family history recounts that in 1873, Daniel ordered a sugared condensed milk from an Anglo-Swiss factory in Switzerland, so he did not exclusively experiment with Nestle's condensed milk, and it was not the only possible source of inspiration. It's important to note that Nestle and his neighbor Peter had, according to the family's history, a strong friendship, and so Nestle's contribution likely could have included advice and information about reducing the water content of milk. It's just not recorded in reliable sources. But the family history does state that Peter was inspired by Nestle's milk and wheat flour baby powder. Nestle had developed a process to make baby food in which he used what was then called a milky flour. It was at this point in his life that Daniel Peter asked himself the question, why not try to make a chocolate containing milk? This idea stayed with the young Daniel Peter to the point of becoming an obsession with him. When early batches of chocolate bars sent to cooler regions of Switzerland were returned rancid, accompanied by unflattering commentaries, Peter realized that even when condensed, milk required further refinement, or that he must replace it with milk refined in a different way to achieve his goal. The Peter family history states that just before Peter succeeded inventing solid milk chocolate, he was not simply adding someone else's milk product to his chocolate. He was either drying fresh milk or further drying condensed milk. He needed to avail himself of a proper vacuum with other supporting equipment, which he could not afford at that time. Peter then equipped a small room, which he called a drying room, in which the product he made was transformed into flakes, spread out on trays, and exposed to a high temperature for further evaporation. This material was weighed before and after its exposure in order to determine the amount of evaporation. For Peter, the results were favorable. He was convinced that he was near his goal. He wished to confirm for himself these last results by getting all the moisture that he could out of the drying process. Upon its release in 1875, the Gala Peter became an international sensation, establishing Daniel Peter as one of the world's leading chocolate makers and boosting demand for alpine milk, benefiting local farmers. Alongside Swiss chocolatier Rodolphe Lindt's invention of conching and tempering, Peter's milk chocolate bar revolutionized the industry, setting the standard for the creamy, smooth bars we enjoy today. An earlier attempt, Jordan and Timaeus. While Daniel Peter is credited with the first true solid milk chocolate bar, an earlier semi-solid chocolate is recorded as emerging in 1839 from Jordan and Timaeus in Dresden, Germany. The evidence about this product comes from advertisements published in the local newspaper, as can be seen here. How to translate some of the terms is open to interpretation, as they have multiple meanings dependent on the context and intent, including tablet, raw, and preparation. For example, the word translated to consumed might also mean prepared. Panel, tablet, slab, or cake might be meant by taveln. Therefore, it could be debated whether the text refers to solid or semi-solid portions of chocolate. Other information is necessary to determine this, and the consensus appears to be that the declared ingredients and known technology of the era would mean the product would not be completely solid or resemble a modern bar of milk chocolate. Their thick paste milk chocolate had approximately 60% cocoa, 30% sugar, and 10% liquid donkey milk, or occasionally cow's milk when donkey milk was unavailable. Why did Jordan and Timaeus choose donkey milk for their chocolate? Several theories have emerged to explain this curious choice. One claim suggests that donkey milk was cheaper than cow's milk. However, this seems unlikely. Donkey milk was almost certainly more expensive due to its low yield, labor-intensive production, and its value as a specialty product. Prized for its perceived health benefits and close resemblance to human breast milk, donkey milk commanded a premium. Could the perceived nourishing and health-promoting properties of donkey milk have driven their decision? It's a plausible theory. Donkey milk's use as a substitute for breast milk and its use for infants, the frail, and the sick may have appealed to Jordan and Timaeus. Water content can be ruled out as a factor. Donkey milk contains approximately 2% more water than cow's milk, offering no significant advantage in this regard. Could fat content have been a factor? Donkey milk is notably light, akin to skimmed or fat-reduced cow's milk, with a fat content ranging from nearly 0 to 1.8%. In contrast, cow's milk contains typically 3.5 to 4% fat. Therefore, donkey milk was definitely not chosen for the qualities that we associate with modern milk chocolate. Jordan and Timaeus' chocolate would not have had the rich, creamy milk taste that we expect today. Could flavor have been the deciding factor? It's possible that Jordan and Timaeus favored its unique taste, or some other quality of donkey milk. The most compelling explanation lies in the practical challenges of sourcing cow's milk. At the time, fresh cow's milk was transported to Dresden in open containers from surrounding farms, leaving it vulnerable to spoilage or contamination during the journey. After delivery, these same containers were often repurposed to haul garbage out of the city, further risking contamination. Donkeys, however, were kept within the city as working animals, making their milk more readily accessible. This proximity likely ensured fresher, less contaminated milk, offering a practical advantage for Jordan and Timaeus' production process, especially since they would have been working against the clock to produce, sell, and have people consume their chocolate before the milk in it would spoil. At the time, powdered milk did not exist, so their use of liquid milk is supposed to have given the product a chewy, soft texture, and it would have been prone to rancidity. Likely consumed fresh to minimize the spoiling of the milk, it failed to achieve commercial success, and reportedly faded from records within a few years of its introduction. Whereas Peter's solid milk chocolate became a great success, expanding worldwide, and brought about a new and the most popular way of consuming chocolate, and many tried to copy it. In 2011 in Dresden, historians recreated this Jordan and Timaeus recipe, noting its grainy texture and bitter taste, which may have contributed to its lack of popularity. However, modern tastes and expectations differ significantly from those of 1839, and making direct comparisons difficult. Furthermore, it appears that they only had the ingredients and their percentages, and had to make assumptions about the machines and techniques used. It is also difficult to tell if the bitter taste reflects the historian's chocolate-making skills or the original taste of the Jordan and Timaeus' milk chocolate, since bitterness depends on the cacao beans selected, how they are roasted and cooled, and other variables. Some claim that this was the first milk chocolate, but the term is too vague, as milk had been mixed with cocoa for drinking chocolate long before. Jordan and Timaeus' product, while innovative, does not meet the precise definition of a milk chocolate bar due to its texture and instability. The claims made regarding it should be more precise, as it does seem to qualify as the earliest recorded commercial semi-solid milk chocolate. Conclusion: the milk chocolate bar, as we know it today, owes its existence to Daniel Peter's persistence and ingenuity. In 1875, he transformed chocolate from a niche treat into a global phenomenon. While earlier attempts, like Jordan and Timaeus' deserve recognition, it was Peter's Gala Peter that changed and conquered the world, leaving an enduring sweet and creamy legacy. Subscribe to our channel now to not miss out on other deeply researched videos about the world of chocolate and cacao.